how to use Vision Aarkus in 6 minutes or less. So here we have Vision Aarkus, and he is Kabam's latest addition to the Cosmic class, and he does a few things well and a few things just okay. He has average stats across the board, but I will show you how to maximize his damage output. So let's look at his power first. He gains 15% less power from attacking and being attacked by the opponent, but he does gain a power buff every 10 seconds up to 5 from the smoke world. So within 40 seconds of a fight, you will automatically gain power, much like Doctor Strange and Sim Supreme. This is important because to get any meaningful damage from this champ, you will need to use his specials in a rotation. The power gain buffs are permanent unless they are nullified. Now the first power gain buff gives him 4% of a bar of power every second. Second power gain buff increases that to 5.32%, 7.08 on the third, 9.41 on the fourth, and 12.5% of a bar of power on the final power gain buff. He also has some power reverse control reduction with his passive ability, where a power drain will be 80% less effective and a power lock will only last 50% of the duration. If he does get power drained or power locked, he will automatically gain another power gain buff if he is not at 5 already. Power locking him can be difficult in the first place if he is awakened because of his signature ability that allows him to purify any non-damaging debuffs like parry, power lock, weakness, armor break, etc. every 9.5 seconds. Now, the higher the SIG level, the better chance, and it goes up to 100% for 5 and 6 stars or 80% for a 4-star. Now, this can be useful for nodes that put a non-passive weakness on you or even encroaching stun nodes. Vision Aarkus is an armor-breaking champ. Now, his damage relies on you being able to cycle through specials. His armor break description looks complicated, but in all actuality, it's pretty simple, so let's break it down. Being close to Aarkus will place armor break debuffs on the opponent lasting for 5 seconds apiece if you have a power gain buff. If you add Iceman or Mysterio to the team, each armor break will last 7 seconds. If you are close to your opponent, though, the countdown timer will stop, allowing you to extend the duration of your armor breaks indefinitely. Now, you can stack up to 10 of these. If you use your special 3, then you will get this green buff that allows you to place an armor break debuff on your opponent from anywhere for 20 seconds, so your enemy will constantly be getting armor break stacks while the buff is up, no matter your proximity to them. Using the special 2 will convert all armor breaks into 1 armor shatter that lasts for 5 seconds per armor break. So if you use the special 2 with 10 armor breaks, you will get a 50-second armor shatter. If your opponent is armor shattered, you can shut down all abilities and power gain on robots, just like Medusa does. If you add Vision to your team, this will extend to any tech that has a metal tag. Now, this synergy is only available for the 5 and 6-star versions of the champ. Now, once an opponent is armor shattered, using the special 3 will give Aarkus a fury buff for 20 seconds that really amps up his damage. Using the special 1 or special 2 while the opponent is armor shattered will deal extra energy damage from the attack. The special 1 will also refresh all armored breaks, but does little damage, and I find it relatively useless for the most part. It is not difficult to keep armor breaks on your opponent. All specials will pause the countdown on expiring armor breaks for the duration of the animation. Now, the best way to get damage out of this champ, I find, is to build up to the special 3 and launch it to get the buff that allows you to constantly place armor breaks on the opponent. This also gives you time to build up your power gain buffs. Then use the special 2, and once you get 10 armor breaks on the champ, to place the armor shatter, launch the special 3 again to get the fury. Now, the fury doubles Vision's damage, and then cycle between the special 2 and the special 3. Aarkus will be gaining power at a high rate at this point in time, so cycling through these specials will take no time at all. If you add any of these champs to the team, then all specials will consume 15% less power for your power bar. Now, one of his only pieces of utility that he has is that while Aarkus is near the opponent and have an armor break or shatter, a cold snap debuff is applied on them, much like Iceman, dealing energy damage and preventing evasion. Of course, this is great for the Spideys, Nightcrawler, and of course, mesmerized nodes. Now, the best masteries, I think, for Aarkus are, of course, Despair, because the amount of debuffs that you place on the opponent, and that's pretty much it. He is a pretty generic champ when it comes to masteries. So that is Vision Aarkus in 6 minutes or less. Now, usually I stop the fast talking and end it there, but since Aarkus is relatively new and not yet available in the arena and in the crystals, I kind of wanted to give my thoughts on him in case anyone is planning to go for him. Now, I feel that he is a bit underwhelming. I think Kabam really missed some good opportunities with this champ because he doesn't really excel at anything. But with a few tweaks, they could have made him really great in certain scenarios. Now, the first problem I have with him is that he has no immunities. And by his comic book lore, he should be pretty much indestructible. And also being a cosmic, I found this to be really strange. I also think they could have tweaked his signature ability to make him great for particular quests and nodes. If his Purify removed passive debuffs from nodes, I think he would have been a great niche champ for nodes that hinder others. So, you know, for instance, you could take him into quests that put a weakness debuff on champs that don't meet a particular, requirement, like Act 5.3, where all classes but one suffer a 50% attack reduction. If he had a chance to purify that debuff, I could see him being more useful there. Another example is, since he is tagged a hero, he will get a passive power lock against villainy and tyranny nodes. So without power gain, Aarkus is pretty much useless, but once again, if his signature ability was tweaked just a bit to remove that, then he becomes more viable. Now, another disappointing thing about this champ is he has no power control. To play him well, you have to use a lot of specials in a timely fashion, but you risk pushing your opponent to a special 3. So giving Vision some sort of power control or power burn would make his needed aggressive playstyle more viable. So, like I said, my first impression of Vision Aarkus is that he's just okay. Of course, maybe as more people get their hands on him, maybe more uses could be found for him. I don't really see a reason to rank him up at this time because I don't think he excels at any particular thing in this game that any other champ can't do better. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe in Act 6.3, Kabam will release, a node or a boss that he is the ideal counter for. But what do you guys think? What are your thoughts on Vision Aarkus? Do you think he just seems kind of underwhelming and a bit like meh? Do you think Kabam could have done better? Will you be grinding for him in the arena? Will you be popping crystals? Let me know in the comments below and let's discuss. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching. If you guys liked what you saw and you want to see more, please remember to like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter and hit me up in the Discord chat. Thanks, guys. Bye.